If you have noticed your teen's FND symptoms like functional tics, seizures, or tremors get worse after they watch certain videos online or they are surrounded by other teens who have those conditions, if that is the case, you're not imagining it. So today we're going to talk about brain retraining for social media and how neuroplasticity plays a massive role in what scientists call social contagion. I am going to explain the mirror neuron, specifically glitch, and show you how to build this digital firewall for your teen's recovery. So let's get started. For those who are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Lee. I am a pediatric health psychologist and the founder of Teen FND Academy, an online coaching program to teach teens with FND and their parents get their lives back. I have been working with these families for years and I have helped at this point, over 300 families, easily counted, towards getting their lives back and recovering from FND. And there are so many studies in science proof just showing that FND is not just in your head or anxiety or stress or psychological. So I want to explain this in details. So let's go. So one of the most controversial topics in pediatric FND right now is how symptoms seem to spread through apps like TikTok and other social media. Many parents feel defensive when they hear this because it sounds like the doctors are saying their child is faking it for attention. And just to be clear, not everyone who has FND is doing it because they watch TikTok or other social media platforms. So let me explain the mechanism, right? As a specialist in brain training, I can tell you this is not about attention. It is purely about biology, specifically neuroscience. Deep in your teen's brain, they have something called mirror neurons. You and I, we all have it. These are the sort of like a copy and paste cells in the nervous system. And their job is to watch what other people do and prime the brain to do the same thing. And it is literally how humans learn to speak, how athletes learn a swing, and how we feel empathy towards other people. In a healthy nervous system, these mirror neurons have a firewall. You can kind of watch someone cough without coughing yourself, for example. But if you see somebody yawning, you might just yawn, right? So the firewall can turn on and turn off to decide how much the mirror neuron can turn on or off. But with a teen with FND, this is already proven that firewall is sort of down. So their nervous system is hypersensitized and super loud, and their brain is looking for a way to express this internal heightened sensitivity. And when it sees a symptom on a screen, for example, it kind of downloads that symptom into their own body. And that's why sometimes the FND symptoms can look contagious, even though there is no contagious virus or anything like that. The Family Guy shares a handful of practical strategies to help you get out of this survival mode. And it shows why our structured approach gets such a strong result. Grab it from the description below. It is free. So to see how powerful this is, let me share a teen I worked with. Let's just say his name is Leo. And Leo at baseline was a straight-A student struggling with extreme FND symptoms related to leg weakness. So he had a really hard time walking. And while he was stuck in bed because of that, he actually spent hours on FND TikTok, patient zero, whatever else that was happening, watching influencers document their tic attacks. Leo at the time didn't have tics at all, but within 2 to 3 weeks of watching those videos daily for hours sometimes, he developed a severe neck twitch that made it impossible for him to eat or sleep. Now, that was really devastating for him and his parents. But his parents were baffled. They thought, oh my gosh, he's already dealing with this leg situation. Why would he start doing this too? And again, without looking at social media, TikTok, all of these influences, it is very possible that teens' FND symptoms fluctuate. So it's almost like a flavor of the day, and you can have symptom A and the next day symptom B, and now all of a sudden symptom A and B all back to back kind of thing. But in this scenario with Leo's case, the answer was fairly simple. to say the least. His brain was basically copy-pasting what it saw as a way to process his own software glitch. And again, his mirror neurons were stuck in this on position for quite some time. And he was not, I repeat, he was not choosing to mimic those influencers. His brain was automatically downloading their code without sometimes him knowing it. The good news is though, because this is a neuroplasticity issue, fancy term for the brain can learn and relearn, then he and we can uninstall that code. So for Leo, the first step was not more therapy. As you can imagine, this brain code glitch issue is not really solved by talk therapy, just focusing on stress, anxiety, or non-existing trauma. So same thing for Leo. The first step wasn't more therapy. It was a digital detox that he could do at home. And it was really important for us not to frame it as a punishment. We explained to him as a sensory hygiene and digital detox. Sort of just like you wouldn't let someone with a lung infection stand in a room full of smoke. We couldn't let Leo's sensitized brain with all the way on mirror neuron breathe in more symptom videos or be in that sort of environment. And this is why environment creates people's behaviors and they shape that a lot. And this is part of the reasons why I always work with parents who can create that incubating environment where kids can relearn the new pattern of their brain and body communication. So back to Leo. Once we cleared this digital smoke and then started specific brain retraining exercises to refocus his attention, Leo's neck tics disappeared in literally less than 10 days. And his brain finally had the quiet it needed to reboot. And I'm not saying, oh my gosh, all you have to do is just do the 10 days of digital detox and just take it away and then just lock it in out of his sight. It's not necessarily that simple, but it needs something like that on top of all of the other brain retraining tools and strategies he has learned, and along with his parents. So if your teen is stuck in a loop of this copying and pasting symptoms they see online or even from other kids at school, for example, you kind of have to understand that their brain is currently on this on source computer, they're totally on. It is taking in everything it sees and trying to turn it into a physical reality. Building a digital firewall is, again, a non-negotiable part of FND recovery, but it also means limiting exposure to symptom-heavy content and replacing it with high dopamine normalizing activities that remind the brain what healthy movement looks like. That does not mean that suddenly Leo has to go to a full marathon or do triathlon and very heavy-duty physical activities. It was more about replacing it with gentle movement, just getting that blood and oxygen going again with pre-planned breaks, aka pacing. See, this is why it's a layer of things that he had to do. It's not just no more phone, right? And that's it. It's no more phone, and he is moving and pacing and having fun thing and going back to his life with gradual return to process. If you want to see how my full program of Teen FND Academy works and how it's helping families resolve FND for real, then watch the video linked in the description box below. If your family is experiencing very similar thing as Leo, aka the mirror neuron situation, then you don't really have to wait for your neurologist to give you permission to start this. This is something you can implement in your house tonight, for example. I have mapped out these protocols and then the brain training steps that I talked about with pacing and things like that in our family guide for Teen FND. And this guide is literally designed to help you take control of the home environment so your teen's brain can finally stop downloading symptoms and start the reboot process. And that also includes what parents you can do to stop downloading the dysregulation and start rebooting the regulation process for you. So click the link in the description box to download the family guide and get our full action plan today. Your teen's brain is incredibly capable of changing. We just have to give it the right instructions. So stop the contagion, start the recovery, and I will see you in the next video.